Hey all, it's Rebecca, and in today's video, it's going to be kind of a downer. It's going to be raw. I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm not always honest, but this is going to be eye-opening to some of you that may not know what's going on behind the scenes here, and some of you may already know what's going on, some of you may not. A couple of my subscribers are already aware of what's going on, but some people may be completely oblivious, and honestly, because I'm struggling so much, I figured I better say something about it because others may be also struggling as much as I am. And I kind of feel alone. So I'm going to roll my intro and then we'll get into this. So I had a lot of hope for the year 2024, and it started off with me being like super busy, and I was working as a supervisor for the company that I contract through, and you know, we were doing pretty good. I was making anywhere between $24 and $62 an hour. I was working as a supervisor. I was working doing like cases and emails, and then whenever I wasn't working as a supervisor, I would roll back to customer support, which was $18.60 an hour or 35 cents a talk minute based on like when I was on a call. There were so many credit card scams going on, or like gift card scams with the actual company that I was customer service with. So basically they needed me more as a supervisor than anything else. So that they were desperate for us to stay as a supervisor. And I had been escalated from a regular agent in August to a supervisor in September. So I'd only been a supervisor for a few months. And basically the only difference between one and the other is my credentials. I had the ability to see everything on the accounts that other agents could see. I could just send emails or take a call and say I was a supervisor, but it didn't really matter because I didn't really have a whole lot of power to do a whole lot of shit. Or I could reach out to the next level of support or payment review or something like that. That was all that I was basically doing. Was I was a middleman for regular customer service and the next level of support. And then of course I could do like cases and send emails and stuff. That was the only difference between being a regular customer service agent and what the escalated status was. And I made a lot more money. So instead of me getting paid, was it either 32 or 35 cents a talk minute? Let me look and see if I have an email that tells me what that was while I'm talking, because now I'm curious, because I know there was a pay difference when I got escalated up. Okay, here it is. Okay, the minimum commit requirement for an L2 athlete is 130 commits a month and 32 commits on the L1 line, which is customer service, 64 commits on the L2 line, and 34 commits that you can work on either. And I would be able to invoice at 35 cents per talk minute. So as long as I was on a call, I would get paid 35 cents a talk minute. Now, I had initially started my contract with this client in like April, May, something like that. And then I went into training, trying to find the information for like the initial contract stuff. I can't seem to put my fingers on it. I may have sorted it into another. Oh, I'm in July. I need to go back. Because it was like April or May of 2023. All right, here's April. Okay, there's where I applied for the one client. This talks about metrics and KPIs. I'm just going through my emails to see, because when you work regular customer service, you only get like a certain amount of pay. And then when you get elevated to supervisor, you get a different pay. So I think it was 32 cents a talk minute as a regular agent and 35 cents a talk minute for the other. Oh my God, there's so many applications in this email folder. All right, here's the contract I signed, and it was in April of last year. But I don't see like prices or anything on it. I know I have like photos of what I saved off on my computer, but anyways, that's neither here nor there. So this client that we were working for was 32 cents a talk minute if you were a regular L1 agent, and then 35 cents a talk minute if you were an L2 agent. And then when I worked cases, that also was 32 cents of, and a minute while we were logged in and working cases. And then somewhere in like December or January, they flipped it. So then we were only getting paid $1.50 per case. And then we had to fill out some stupid form and other shit. So yeah, so this was what January kind of rolled into, like a whole bunch of like new regulations and shit. So that's when the initial shit started hitting the fan. From there, my dad was supposed to come January 12th through the 16th. He was supposed to drive up with my daughter. They were supposed to stay for several days. We were supposed to go do stuff fun. We had tickets to go see that Shen Yun, which is that like uber religious, like Chinese play that we went and saw that had basically dancing and acting and AI stuff that looks like something a high school production could put on. The costumes were pretty, but other than that, it literally looked like something a high school production would put on. It did not look like a professional dance troupe would put it on. And then my dad said that his sunroof and his Mercedes had leaked and he couldn't come up and that he couldn't get his car to start. And this is a Mercedes that he just fucking bought because his Mercedes AMG was in the garage dead because it had suspension issues and he couldn't drive that. And the ML320 Mercedes that he had was sitting in the back of his house with a dead radiator. So all of his vehicles were basically undrivable. And my daughter's Oldsmobile wouldn't have made it. So I was like, well, fine. We'll just pay for you guys to fly up. I have the money. We'll just pay for flights for you to come up, for you and Brie and Emily, which is his dog, to fly up and stay for those days. And then we'll pay for you to fly back. That's not a big deal. Even though my dad has $130,000 sitting in the bank. He has the money. It's not a money issue for him. He just likes to stay the fuck at home. So this is how my 2024 is starting. So I'm working my ass off. And I'm looking at just my January, my month of January, and I've got so much shit going on between getting prepped for the client that I'm working for now, which starts in January. I'm sure some of you already know who it is. But, for privacy reasons and stuff. And they're like, well, you signed an NDA. You're not supposed to talk about the clients that you work for, blah, blah, blah. We're not even supposed to put them on a resume. But how the fuck am I supposed to find a job if I can't put them on my resume kind of thing? Anyways, so January through April, I work for one client. And that's a whole other contract situation. So I was already working for this athletics company. And that's when my renewal from my other contract came up and I started working there. And I was already doing like recertification for them in January. And I think that started, let's see, January 8th, it says get ready to return. And then January 9th. So it was like Thursday the 4th and then the 8th and the 9th. And then we were done. And if I look at my email, if I go back to January, there's my credential email on the 2nd. And then here's my thank you for signing up for login assistance on the 2nd, which is what you're supposed to do. And it says client required login session on Tuesday the 2nd. So that's what that was. And then here's the review for the login session on January 4th. And then here it is, 8 a.m. Tuesday the 9th is the readiness team sending me stuff with my e-learning is that I had to get done, which is required every 365 days. We have e-learning that we're supposed to redo. So all of that stuff is there. And I knew that all of this stuff was coming due also we had our SOWs that we had to sign, and it says right here, what we get paid from January through April is 34 cents a talk minute, 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and client requirements are 80 commits a month. I'm working 100 and something commits just this week. Now, granted, every time I re-up my contract with this client, I get paid $200. So I get an incentive bonus of $200, but now I'm year round. I highly doubt I'm going to get that lovely incentive bonus, which would be really helpful right about now. So every year I'm guaranteed unless they kick me off, I'm guaranteed to come back January through April and then September through October. So again, let me pull up this stuff for this time around because, okay, here it is. For peak season or off-peak season, we're paid 23 cents of talk time, which is what I'm getting paid right now. 23 cents per minute of talk time and available time. So that means when I turn my phone on and it's in available and I'm sitting there waiting for a call, I'm being paid 23 cents a minute. That's what they say my master's degree is worth. 23 cents a minute. And then I was only contracted to work until October 19th. And then, of course, I kept getting emails and stuff saying that, don't forget to pick up hours and this and that. And I'm like, but my contract was supposed to be over on the 19th. And I thought that was really odd. And so I put in a ticket and I reached out and they decided to keep me, which was great because I needed a fucking job. So I keep emails for everything. So I was doing my main job, which requires 130 commits a month. Now, to break down what a commit is, one commit is a 30-minute increment. So if I need 130 commits, that's like 65 hours a month. That's not a lot of hours. It breaks down to like 16 hours a week. 130 divided by 2 divided by 4. 16 hours and 16.25 a week. That's it. That's all you need. And then, of course, the other client needed 80 hours. So if you take the 130 plus 80, and then you divide that by 2, that's 105 hours a month. Divide that by 4, that's 26.25 hours. Now, the only problem is when you work with the one client, calls can run long. And I'm talking, you have somebody call in and go, hey, I'm having issues with an install or a download or blah, blah, blah. And like all of a sudden a 10-minute phone call turns into like 4 fucking hours, because once you get them installed and whatever, they're like, hey, can you help me do this? And can you review this with me? And oh, by the way, can you help me like update my payment method? And next thing you know, you're like doing everything for them. And you're like, fuck, because there were times when I would work the one client first and then I would have to go to work at the other one at like 4 o'clock and I'd still be on the fucking phone and I'd have to try and give up my commits for the other job or the other client because I was still on the fucking phone with the first fucking client. And it was hard, trying to do that. And of course, I am responsible for working the commits as an independent contractor. If I sign up for them, I'm responsible for working those commits, even if nobody takes them. So if I have them on my, what is called shift board, some other companies use Humanities, some other companies use Socrates, or some people just use like things like Five9, or there's like Amazon company products and stuff that you can use for scheduling. So there's a bunch of different companies that you can use for scheduling your commits, depending on what contract company you work for. So you're still required as a contractor to work the hours you select. So when you have a call run over on one client and you work for 2 or more clients, that's when you run into a hairy situation. So what some people do is they'll either split the days and they'll like work one client in the morning and one client at night, depending on the hours of operation, or they work one client Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then they work another client Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then they take Sunday off. But then you're also working 6 days a week. And sometimes you get burnout doing that. And that was what I was finding, is that if I worked those hours, I was getting burnout. And then, I was just, you don't have a fucking life when you do that. And then people would call out, or you'd have ARAs, which is called an agent results advocate. They're not really a manager because you don't have a boss, you're an independent contractor. They would be like, hey, Rebecca, so-and-so said that they're sick or they can't work. Can you pick up their shifts? And they need you to work until like 2 a.m. with the one client. And you've got to work at 10 o'clock the next morning with somebody else. And you suck at sleep. Like, I go to bed and I fucking lay there for hours trying to sleep, even though they're in my cup. I gotta get past my other vitamins. You take magnesium glycinate. And it's like, what do you do when you go to bed at midnight and you fucking lay there till 4 o'clock in the morning and you get zero sleep? And by the time you finally doze off, next thing you know, you've got Jason blundering through the house, or his snoring keeps you awake. And at that time, we hadn't gone to the pulmonologist for him. And you have had zero fucking sleep. You've got to go to work for your other client. And then all of this shit just hits the fan. So those were like issues January through April. And this is when Jason and I were still sharing a bedroom. When I finally had enough of listening to him snore and blow bubbles, even though the bubbles were kind of cute, I couldn't handle the noise anymore. I can't handle the noise when I'm sleeping. And of course, he hates the fact that I sleep with the ceiling fan. He hates the fact that I sleep with a fan on my nightstand. He hates the fact that I play music on my cell phone, even if it is on the next to last step to being completely off on sound. Like the last bottom, like you're turning your volume down and like you turn the sound all the way off, and then like you bump it up one. That's where my volume is for the music on my phone. Even being there, that disturbed him, or he didn't like it or whatever. And it's like, neither of us get the type of sleep that we need. How he ever fucking slept in New York, I have no idea. But he needs quiet, and I can't have just quiet because my head never shuts the fuck up because of the neurospiciness that I am. I can't do quiet. So January was a fucking shit show. Here we are in December, and this year has just done nothing but shit on me every fucking turn. I had been injured in September because that bitch Uber driver that tried to drive off while I was trying to get out of the car after she was speeding on a road that she wasn't supposed to speed on. And then Jason didn't even take me into consideration when he was signing the agreement for his settlement, not knowing, because they didn't tell him, because they don't technically have to tell him. But what he should have done was read the fucking contract before he signed it. He's the one that scheduled the ride. I was a passenger on his ride, and he signed the settlement without consulting me because I was talking to lawyers. I was really hurt in that accident. And he didn't read the documentation before he took his $1,000 settlement, and I got fucked. So by January, I was still hurt from that accident at the end of September, and I could barely function. And this is where advocacy for yourself really comes into play. And don't let people decide shit for you. And I'm like, even when they think they're doing the right thing for you, men are not. Men will fuck you over every chance that you get and stomp on your heart and kick you in the soul and rip everything away from you. And not even take 2 seconds to consider you in the long run. And then you end up in a situation like I'm in right now, because this shit's about to get worse. And this is just January. So then in February, of course, I'm working. I'm working both clients. I'm trying to do what I can. I'm going to doctor's appointments. They're talking about doing surgery. March is when I have my very first surgery on my neck. Now, for those that don't know, I did a video on it, and I do have the video up on my channel if you are so inclined to go look for it. Let me go look and see what it's called. It says outpatient cervical nerve block from March 1st is what it's called. It was published on October 25th. I have another one that I haven't published yet. That surgery was April 10th. We haven't even gotten to April yet. So March 1st, I had a cervical nerve block done, which is when they go in and they stick a bunch of needles in your neck and they inject a lidocaine or epinephrine or, well, of course I've got my records, but you guys don't need to know the exact mixtures of what they put in my neck. But I was avoiding steroids because for those that don't know, at the age of 40 plus, you can only use steroids about 6 times in your lifetime in a certain location on your body before you end up with what is called necrotic tissue. Necrotic tissue is what you get from using steroid injections, and using too many steroid injections for localized pain can cause issues. Steroids can be a good and beneficial part to a healing process, but using too many steroids can cause negative interactions with your bodies, and it can cause cell degeneration. So please talk to your doctors if you are looking at doing any type of injections at all, because certain injectables can cause degeneration of the cells and tissue around the injection site. And steroid injections at a young age can be very dangerous. So please make sure you are informed, you know what you're getting into, and you know what is being injected into your body, because normally 5 to 6 injections of steroids can be a game changer for you and can be a life ender. So please make sure you do your research when doing any type of injections, whether it is in like a knee or a hip or any type of like joint or something like that. When you have to go into an interstitial space like a bone or a neck or a like a wrist or knee or anything like that. Yes, it is great for a temporary fix that could be anywhere between 2 weeks to 6 months. Sometimes people even have relief up to a year. The problem with that is though, is after a while, the cells become dependent on the product, which is why people don't, doctors don't want you on a long-term steroidal anti-inflammatory kind of medication, because your body becomes dependent on it. And then you have cell degeneration around that injection site. And then you end up with other problems because your body, which is literally the best cleaner ever, can go in and clean out some of the particles, but with certain types of injections, it goes in to clean it out. And it's kind of like trying to clean hair out of Jello. And it's kind of a difficult process, to say the least. So please, again, make sure that you talk to your physician if that's something that you're looking to do. So I had a cervical nerve block done on March 1st. So March 1st, I was out of, I had that done. I didn't work then, but I did try and work on the 3rd. I worked at 8:30 p.m., 9:30 p.m., and 10 o'clock p.m., and I couldn't see straight anymore. I then had a 11:30 a.m. commit for the one client on the 4th, at a 5 o'clock p.m. for one client, and an 8:30 p.m. on the 4th, and I was like, no. On the 5th, I had a noon commit for the client that takes like ages. And a lot of the times they'll have you like where you can like pick up commits and stuff off the trade board, which is like where you can trade shifts, which the company that I work for is really great about being able to pick shifts up and drop shifts like on the fly. With companies like Omni, you have to drop a commit within a 48-hour window before the commit is, you need to work it, which I think is stupid, because what happens if you have like an emergency or you lose power or something that's usually like instantaneous? You need to be able to get rid of that shift immediately. Omni doesn't have anything like that. So keep that in mind. So I didn't work a whole lot that week. It wasn't until like Friday that week, where I was kind of feeling semi-human, that I could actually start to work more hours that day. And then of course I was trying to take Saturdays off that week so that we could go and do stuff like grocery shopping, bills, whatever, other shopping. So most of the Saturdays on my weeks were pretty empty. Now, looking at this, schedule and stuff, I am pretty back to back on my schedule. And I was slacking from the one client to work the other client because, again, one company was kind of slacking on the calls and stuff. And then I would pick up commits wherever I could. If somebody dropped a commit, I was like the first person that would go into work. But again, the one company I could work until 2 o'clock in the morning. So I knew if I was up, I could work. So it didn't matter. I was stalking those trade boards for hours when I was able to work. So that wasn't a big thing. And then of course I had doctor's appointments here and there and everywhere. Getting into April, again, I did have that other nerve block done on April 10th. That was in my lower back. So that was the one of 2 procedures that I had done on my lower back, and that was the 10th. I had a meeting with my one company on the 11th, and then I did not work until the 15th. So I took Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off because I was in so much pain. I literally wanted to vomit. I couldn't move. I could barely walk. Trying to get in and out of the shower was painful. I would get a shower and I would put everything I needed, my bar of soap, my shampoo, everything that I needed on the ledge on the side of the tub, and I would sit down and shower from the floor of the tub because honestly, I couldn't shower. I was in so much pain after that procedure. It was unbelievable the amount of pain I was in, and I couldn't function. And of course, For those that know, the 15th is kind of like an important day in April, for like people that needed to get their taxes and stuff done. By April, Jason hadn't even done his taxes yet. So like I was trying to help him do that and get shit done. And I was like, I'd done my taxes in February. So, and then I had neurological appointments and stuff like 2 days after that date. And then of course, every week we were having meetings with the one company. And again, I only worked with the one company until like the 19th of April. And then I was done until, September 30th. Then Jason had a sleep study on April 30th that he had to go do at like 11:45 in the morning. I'm about to go get up and go to take his ass to that because I don't do morning appointments. But looking at this, somehow or another, there must have been something that I said or did on a call because I got temp removed by QA from the one client that I work for. So my contract with one company ended on the 19th. And then on the 26th of April is when stuff started to get bumpy with the other client because I got temporarily removed from my contract and I had to have a meeting about it. And I literally didn't work like all weekend because like I couldn't log in because I had my credentials blocked, because I had to apologize for something that I had said or done or whatever. And come to find out it was a misunderstanding because I said the word uh-oh on a call and they deemed that as negative languaging. I will let that sink in for a second. The word uh-oh was negative languaging. So I got wrote up for using negative verbiage on a call. I also say, oh no, or oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, or oh goodness. I mean, it's not like I can say, oh fuck, it's not like I can say something like that. So I was like, well, shit, shit's about to hit the fan. I had an MRI on May 1st that I had to go get done because it took us weeks to get that scheduled. And of course, Mother's Day rolled around on the 12th. And of course, that was a whole other fiasco. I didn't have a whole lot of hours in the month of May. And if I go back and look at what pay I earned, I can actually, let me see if I can pull that up really quick. No, it's going to make me log in 1 second. Okay, I wanted to make sure that I could pull up my pay and stuff. Okay, so I got paid depending on like what clients I was working, what way I was working, whether I was working as a L1 agent, L2 agent on cases, or the other client. So there were 4 different ways that I could earn money. And of course, there were incentives sometimes. So like when I look sometimes, like this one here says there were 4 invoices for that day. One of them just says L2 support cases. One says L2. This one here, I don't know why there's L2 on here twice. This one here says the other client. So there's a couple of them that say a couple of different things. Yeah, this one just says L2 support cases, L2 paid minutes. So we got paid for chats, we got paid for voice calls, and we got paid for cases. So for the month of January, I earned $2,214.05. Okay, just to give you an idea. And then in February, I earned $2,802.42. March, I earned, and it says I worked 23 days. Oh, that's the other thing. I didn't tell you what, how many days I worked, because it'll tell you like how many items. So this tells me I worked 24 days in January to earn that amount, in case y'all are really curious. In February, out of the 29 days in the month, I worked 23. In March, there were 31 days in March. I worked 25 days, so I took 6 days off in March. I earned $2,911.84, and this is only with working this contract, like through this one company. This is not the YouTube money that I earned. This isn't the other contract companies that I've worked with. This isn't Poshmark. This isn't Mercari. This isn't the couple of sales that I've had on my website. It's not counting all the other stuff that I do to try and earn money, like by selling everything in my life. Now, come to April, there are 30 days in April. I earned $3,016.12, but I only worked 22 days. I was earning a bunch of money working cases. This one day on April 30th, I worked 63 cases and made $94.50. That's $1. I was making $1.50 a case. That's how we were getting the money. So if you take the $94.50 divided by 63, that breaks down to be the 63 times $1.50 makes to be $94.50. So on April 30th, let me tell you how many hours that I worked. Okay, I worked from 7 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. In 3.5 hours, I made that much money. So $94.50 divided by 3.5 is $27 an hour. That's what I was earning. Depending on how fast I could get cases done, how many cases were rolling in, and that kind of stuff. I was making really good money doing cases. Now, for May, I didn't have a whole lot of hours. There are 31 days in May. I'm waiting on it to load. I scared it. So going through my calendar in May, I had an appointment with my pain specialist on the 9th. Of course, Mother's Day was on the 12th, and that was an absolute shit show. I'm trying to get my bills, I'm trying to pay off my credit cards and stuff to get all of my bills caught up so that I don't have any extra bills. As of right now, the only credit card that has money on it that's owed is Tractor Supply. My Apple credit card is almost completely paid off, and the only other bank card that I have is completely paid off. I don't owe money to anybody right now. All of that stuff is paid off. I do have a couple of Afterpay things that I use to buy vitamins or get stuff through Amazon, big purchases for the house, which technically the house should be paying for, not me, because it is stuff that we used. We used my Amazon account to buy stuff for the house, like dishes and silverware and stuff like that. But it did fall underneath my account, but that's neither here nor there. So in May, there were 31 days. I only worked 20 days in May. I made $2,176.03 in May, working 20 days. So I was earning about $100 every day that I did work. Could I have worked more? Yes, but I was fighting migraines so readily in May. It was astounding just how bad they were. At the one point, I did an infusion. That's why I did the MRI May 1st. I did an infusion at a one center. It cost $780 to do a migraine infusion. Insurance does not pay for it at all. I had migraine relief for 8 hours. That's it. 8 fucking hours is all I had relief for. Then we get into June. Okay, June, I worked a ton of hours. And this is when I started doing a ton of AI projects with Appen. And this is when we started seeing new management come in. Our upper management had kind of stepped back that had been with the team since it became an L2 team. And we started noticing a whole lot of changes. Also, the end of May, they took away our ability to be a supervisor. So when we would get chats and stuff in and we would help people on chats, they took all of that away and they made us go into a Zoom room, and then they paid us a flat rate of $21 an hour as long as we were in a Zoom room. So hours were going super quick and it was super hard to get hours. So out of the 30 days in June, I only worked 19 days and I made $18.55 and 56 cents that entire month. They also started taking away our cases from us, and I started seeing the writing on the wall at that point, and so I'm applying everywhere. This is also the same month that Jason found out from his supervisor that she would be leaving the customer, whatever you want to call it. They worked for a large company, marketing firm, and they work for little offshoot umbrella companies underneath that big company. And she told Jason, hey, they're going to be moving me from here to so-and-so. There's going to be a whole bunch of layoffs. You might want to start putting feelers out now. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming down the pipeline. I warned him at that point, this job market is shit. Start applying for stuff now. I am regularly, constantly applying for jobs, and I'm not getting any bites with any of my degrees. I have several resumes that I use. I'm constantly updating things. I even have all the hints and tips and cheats and things that the recruiters online tell you to do. I get 0 replies to my resume. None. I'm going to direct websites. I'm going to Indeed. I'm going to Monster. I'm going to Hot Jobs. I'm going to Google Jobs. I'm going to LinkedIn. I'm going every fucking where but the paid websites, because I'm not paying a website to go get a fucking job. I'm sorry. I think that's a ripoff. Supposedly they vet jobs in order to be on there, but also the people that are applying there are also applying everywhere else. So your chances of getting a job are still nil. So I warned him at that point, please start applying for jobs. This is going to come sooner than you think. The job market is super hard right now. You need a backup plan. Please start doing stuff, set up stuff so that we're not stuck with no way out. And of course, I'm still applying for disability. I'm still trying to get disability. Migraines and neurological conditions are considered a disability type thing, but trying to get disability based on a neurological condition that can't be diagnosed with an MRI or a CT or a PET scan is kind of fucking hard. And they say because I have 9 college degrees, I should be able to get a fucking job. You fucking think? Are you going to fucking hire me? Because I can't get a fucking job. Nobody is fucking hiring. The job market in the United States is the biggest joke besides the president with 34 felony convictions that's coming into office in January. That is the next biggest joke that this country has, besides the fact that they're opposed to universal health care. Like, I don't understand. Political rant here for a minute. How somebody can vote somebody into office that is a convicted fucking felon. Convicted felons can't even fucking vote. And y'all elected a convicted fucking felon. The fuck is wrong with y'all? And they're saying, oh, the job market is so booming right now. Everybody should be able to get a job. Go get a job, you lazy bum, blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants to work anymore. The fuck we do. I apply to hundreds of jobs a week. Hundreds. Do you know how many auto responses I might get back from my resume? That is if you can actually submit a fucking resume. Because some of these websites are dorked and they don't allow you to submit a resume. Maybe 1 email out of 100. And now the recruiters are playing games and they want you to message them on socials. I'm sorry, stalking is illegal in the United States. I'm not going to hunt you down on social platforms to message you directly because that's a crime. I shouldn't have to find you on LinkedIn and send you a direct message to be like, hey, I thought you were gorgeous and I wanted to be your best friend. And by the way, I saw your company was hiring for this job. I think I'd be a really great fit. Please hire me. I'm desperate. The fuck? What? There should be a law against some of this shit that employers are doing right now. They post jobs that they're not hiring for. They post fake jobs, which are called ghost listings. The recruiters are not reviewing applications. They even openly admit it on social media that their employers are having them post fake jobs to encourage their current employees to work harder for less pay because it looks like they're replaceable. We have laws in the United States against false advertising, against advertising. Why do we not have laws against this? I understand that we're supposed, I don't know what the fuck's going on with my hair over here. Why do we not have laws to protect against this? Make that make sense? I don't understand. Uh-oh, Big Feet's coming. Sorry, I had to leave for a minute. There was some loud crashing and stuff in the living room I had to go check out. And come to find out one of my cats was pissing on stuff in the living room yet again because she's too fucking lazy to walk to the other end of the house, which isn't very far from where she's at, maybe 10 feet or so, to actually go to the fucking bathroom there. No, she'd rather go to my living room and piss on shit there. So, had to go deal with that. So, I think we're up to July now. Looking at July, I worked a lot of commits in July. I'm still going to the doctor. I had between March and October, I had a total of 6 surgeries between my neck and my lower back. So some of these are just marked with the name of the doctor and then I can see that I've got a couple of days off, so I never know which one is which. But July was when we were supposed to have our roof done, and then they put us off. So I have on here a meeting with the roof people on the 22nd. So we had a lot of windstorms and whatnot and damage, and I noticed that there was some marks by the fireplace. And when I was a kid, we noticed similar marks by the fireplace in my grandfather's house that we lived in. After my grandfather died in 91, we moved into his old house, and the same kind of marks were on the ceiling in his house. Dad and I got up on the roof. He showed me where the flashing was bad and where the shingles and stuff had gone bad. And of course, we had to peel up the shingles, had to peel back the flashing, showed me where the roof was leaking and all that kind of stuff. So he showed me how to patch a roof back then, and how some roofs that you can just patch and move on, and other roofs where he walked me through, like, when is the time to like patch a roof versus like replace the whole roof. But the problem is with the roof that we have here in Georgia is the pitch on it. Instead of it being like this, it's more like this. So the pitch is more steep than what I'm used to getting on in Florida. And so it was a whole lot of nope for me. I was not about to climb on the roof on our house, because I know when we bought the house, the inspector said there was a lot of exposed nails on the roof, which is bad. But also the pitch on the roof by the chimney is really steep on that side of the house. And I wasn't about to fall my crazy ass off, because I'm clumsy enough as it is, and knowing my luck, I'd have fallen off. So we had a meeting at like 1 o'clock that day. And then of course I had shifts split out. Come to find out, that lady didn't even show up to our house until like 8 o'clock that night. She kept putting us off. That should have been my first red flag with dealing with this roofing company called Mr. Roof and Restoration here in Georgia. The reason I'm calling them out by name is it was not a very good experience. Number one, all of the workers that they had on our property were Mexican. All of them. Not one single one of the workers spoke a stitch of English. There was no foreman on site. They all looked like children. How they were here legally, I have no idea. They were probably all paid under the table, and there were minor children on our property. And I'm talking like a 2-year-old was wandering around my property. Enough so that I was worried about the child, and I had surgery the day that they did our roof, which I'll get into in a minute. I called when we got back from my surgery that day and said, hey, your roofers have children on our property. They shouldn't have children on the property when they're working on our roof. But also, I just had surgery on my neck. I don't need minor children on my property, because that's a liability for me as a homeowner to have children under the age of 5 walking around on my fucking property. So it was a big deal to me that these underage workers were on my property, and then the underage workers who didn't speak any English also had children, minor children on my property. So that was another huge problem that we had. They also said that they could get the roof replaced for free because it was considered an act of God, because it was weather damaged. That they did stick by. But then they told us that the roof was going to be this much money. And then when the roof was done and we had paid for everything and I paid everything off, 2.5 months later, I get a text from this bitch saying that we owe her more fucking money. And I am not fucking joking. Let's see if I can find it. So she's asking me here for a review on September 4th. And then she's asking me October 28th, have you received your final check yet? And you can see my Google Calendar on my phone. And it took us months to get that, because we were supposed to get the last $1,500 for that. And we were going to use that to put gutters on the house. What the hell? I'm going to send this bitch a message. I need to fucking block her, actually. Anyway, so Monday, October 28th at 1:56 p.m., I reply, oh, and she sent me that Monday the 28th at 11:36 a.m. Have you received the final check yet? I'm like, yes, finally. She's like, awesome. And then I told her, I said, Jason lost his job October 1st. She's like, do you want me to have the office send over the ACH link? And I'm like, the fuck? A link for what, bitch? I fucking paid you for the roof. I went back through all of the contracts and stuff. I looked at all the agreements. I looked at the Intuit invoice that she had sent me. Everything was fucking paid. I didn't owe this bitch a fucking dime. I paid everything off. And then she's like hounding me for money. And she's like, oh, well, the total for the roof was this much money. And you've only paid that much. And I'm like, I went back and I looked at the invoice. We paid $15,380 for our fucking roof. Why are you saying we owe you more fucking money? So we went back and forth on that. And then, so I had paid, I finally said, you know what, whatever. Jason said, if you think you did pay it, don't pay it. But then this bitch is threatening to put a lien on our house. And here we are. Jason's lost his job. We can't pay any of our fucking bills. And, you know, this bitch is like, if you don't pay us, we're going to put a lien on your house, take your house, and kick you and your animals out in the cold. That's what, like, the messages and shit say. Like, I have the proof. And I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you, ho? I just fucking told you Jason lost his job, and that's the shit you want to fucking send me on text message? The fuck? So then, on December 2nd, I only had $500 left to pay because I paid $500 the first, it was like the first week of September, she sent me the invoice for the last $1,500 that she claimed that we owed. Jason's like, just fucking pay it. I'll put the money in the account. He took money out of somewhere, whatever. And he was putting $500 in at a time so that I could pay it. I paid $500 as soon as I got the invoice, and it said I had 30 days to pay it. That's the key word. 30 days on the invoice is what it said. It was a net 30. I paid the next $500 on the 15th or 16th when he put more money in, and then I only had $500 left. Tell me why this bitch sent me this. Why the fuck is she telling me I owe her a fucking grand when she's already been paid $1,000 and she only has $1,500 or a $1,500 total? Tell me why. Explain that shit to me when I only owe her $500 and she's asking for a fucking grand. Talk about a fucking scam company. And it's literally been one scam, one bullshit, one piece of shit after another with this company. So our meeting with them was supposed to be Monday, the 22nd of July at 1 p.m. She showed up at 8 or 8:30 that night, and I was supposed to go back to work at 10:30 that night. She was here until I went the fuck back to work. That's how long she was here. Then they were supposed to put the roof on at 6 o'clock that morning. On I have on here Friday the 9th. They were actually supposed to start before that. But for whatever reason, they didn't do it because Hurricane, whatever her name, came rolling through, Debbie, came rolling through, and they had to cancel being able to put the roof on because of the storm, and we lost power and all that kind of stuff. So they came on the 9th to put the roof on. I had surgery on my neck at 10 o'clock that morning. And this is August 9th. That's when all that shit hit the fan. I didn't work until August 15th. So I was out of work all of that time. Then I had started training for the workers' comp thing that I did from August through, I think it's October 8th or whatever, where some guy was railing about Elon Musk and I got fired because I didn't tell him to shut up or something. Not like it's my position to do that, but whatever. Looks like the temperatures are dropping. It's 44 outside right now. It says temperatures to drop on Thursday. Why are you telling me about it now? It's not even fucking Monday yet. Stupid computer. So I had already seen like issues and stuff. But then this is like August 9th. I got fired off my last contract. The last day that I worked was August 7th. I get an email August 8th that says, you have been removed from the program by client request. Setbacks like this happen and not all clients are a good fit for your home business, and that's okay. If you'd like to explore additional opportunities, please head over and check out my opportunities. If you have any questions, please visit your portal if you still have any questions. So I was all sorts of confused, and I put in a ticket. And I'm like, the fuck happened? Come to find out, I reached out and they're like, clients can choose to remove a business from servicing them, and these are non-reversible, and they can remove you at any time for any reason. Thank you for your response. There was not a reason given, and no, this is not reversible. Can you provide me a specific day that you feel your invoice was incorrect? Because of course I wasn't paid right either. So I asked for like why I was removed. I found out why I was removed from an ARA, and they basically said QA got a hold of a call that I was on where I talked to somebody from Central Florida, and they brought up like the officer involved shooting. And I said, oh yeah, I used to work for that department. And I kind of like left it at that. And I didn't say anything else. And that's why I got fired, because I mentioned that I used to work for that department. So, you know, they didn't like that. And of course, the customer had made some comments about, you know, how sad it was and that her heart went out to the families and that it's a tragedy and stuff like that. And I said, unfortunately, I can't comment about that. But yes, I used to work law enforcement for that agency, and I understand how hard it is to, at this time. And we're not allowed to comment on these kinds of things. So I kind of like left it as neutral as possible. And that's the phone call that they pulled, and they fired me. But according to the ARA that I spoke to, she said that they'd been looking for a reason to get rid of me because I was the highest paid L2 out of everybody. I worked the most amount of hours and earned the most amount of pay on like cases and tickets and everything like that. And that, she said it was basically because I always picked up extra shifts when they asked. I always went above and beyond for the customers. I worked as many case commits as I could get. I worked both L1 and L2 commits. I did everything that they fucking asked for, and they didn't want that because I was costing them $64 an hour. And that's why they got rid of me. So, by the time the roofers got here on the 9th, I had barely fucking slept. I was so stressed out. I didn't have a fucking job. And then I had the training for the other job that started on the 19th. And I did have an interview with my friend Stacy on the 16th for this job, which I really, really wanted because like I did a ton of research on it. I thought it would be like fantastic. I really loved the idea of the job. I thought, okay, this is something that's like right in my wheelhouse. It looks really interesting. Like, I could like memorize all this stuff about each property and and like do everything that they need to do. It's 100% email based. I don't have to talk to anybody on the phone, so I can't like fuck up and say something wrong. She interviewed me. I was in her like top 2 people to hire because they only needed somebody to work like during the week, and then they needed somebody to also, there were like 2 positions that she had open. There was 10 people that out of like 130 people that she interviewed, there were like 10 people that she had narrowed it down to. And then the owner of the company like ghosted her. And like, they never ended up hiring for the position at all. And like, that would have been like the perfect fucking job for me. And it was a W-2 position. I was so fucking bummed. And of course, Stacy was going through chemo and stuff for colon cancer. And like, I didn't want to stress her out. And I didn't want to use like the fact that we're both pagan and like we know each other from like similar circles and like we're friends and that kind of stuff. I didn't want to use that connection to like push myself forward to getting the job. And so I tried not to harass her about it because of course I don't want to be that person. So I just kind of like left it alone for a month, but I was like super pissed about that. And this is also about the time when Jason also finds out that 1,200 people just got fired from his company. And he was warned again by his manager that to start looking for other opportunities and that they'd be letting him go soon if he didn't find a backup plan. So this was like 2 or 3 months after he had been warned the first time to start finding an alternative fucking job because he would be going soon. Because his company, if you don't know this, in the United States, a publicly traded company has to list with the government if they plan to lay people off. And it's required 6 months before they start laying people off. They have to give numbers as to how many people they're laying off and when they expect to do it by. They had listed on the website that, of course, you can do a quick Google search and check layoffs. 120,000 people were being fired from his parent company. 120,000 people were losing their jobs in this shit-ass job market. So I was glad to pick up this contract for workers' comp. And so I was doing that, and I was doing everything I could to like pick up as many commits as possible. And I did every fucking thing I could. And of course, I'm fighting a migraine while I'm going through training, and I'm working as many hours. And then of course, I started my refresher course for the contract that I work, like September 30th through October 19th. So that started while I was in the middle of that. That started September 16th. And then by October 8th, I was let go again from the workers' comp thing. And come to find out, my friend Jessica also got fired. And they fire you for like the stupidest shit when you work contract positions. And companies use contractors so that we're like disposable employees. It's like, oh, these underwear pinch my butt, I'm just going to throw them away. Instead of like actually buying underwear that fit right, they're just going to throw you away like you're disposable because they don't fucking care. And that's what's wrong with like the US job market, is that that's how employers treat employees, like a pair of ill-fitting underwear. So they don't want to pay health insurance. They don't want to pay benefits. They don't want to pay them a decent, livable wage. They want to treat us like we're third world employees, and they want to pay us peanuts. And come to find out, I watched this guy's video on Instagram the other day where he talked about like, you know, where the phrase comes from, working for peanuts. I don't even make enough money to buy a fucking bag of peanuts. Isn't that fucking sad? So here we are in October. The 1st of October, Jason lost his job, which was inevitable. He knew that the job that he was working on would end on the 1st, and literally on the 1st, they locked him out of fucking everything. He had been like interviewing for like internal positions and stuff like that, and everybody kept brushing him off because he was working on a project, and they wouldn't like go any further. And I'm like, I fucking warned you. I warned you. I told you to prepare. You ignored me like I'm stupid or something. I'm not fucking stupid. I'm not naive when it comes to this shit. I fucking warned you in April when your manager told you the first time. I've been warning you for months. Don't play around with this shit. It's more difficult than you think it is. Because he's like, nope, I'll just put my resume out there and I'll get a job in like 2 weeks. He's been out of work this entire time, and here it is December 15th. Still don't have a fucking job. And the 15th was his last severance paycheck, and now he has nothing. And I'm the only one working, and I'm killing myself working. And I've had a migraine for over 2 weeks, and I'm selling every fucking thing that I can, and I'm photographing stuff and listing stuff for sale every fucking day for sale, trying to make extra money so that I can pay off all of my bills. I've paid off all my credit cards so that I don't have that. I'm trying to put money aside in my savings account so that I've got a little bit of money. And we didn't pay our mortgage this month. Now they forced us to pay it last month, even though we asked for like mortgage help. And that's a whole other thing. When we had a meeting in October with the realtor that's going to list our home, she told us like, you have to like remove all the artwork from your wall, and you have to take all your nerd stuff down, and you have to like pack everything up off your desk, and you can't have anything on your kitchen counters, and you have to like sterilize your home so it looks like nobody fucking lives there. I don't know what's wrong with people. Like, I really don't. But she was like telling us that my tummy's unhappy. I don't know if you heard that or not. But she was like telling us like all of these different things that we needed to do. But then she told us, did you apply for XYZ with your mortgage company? And I'm like, and I had seen it on the website, and I told him about it before he lost his job. And he's like, oh, I'll wait to apply for that once I lose my job. Do you know we could have fucking applied for that before he lost his job? We didn't know that. They don't tell you that. The other thing they don't fucking tell you is that if you continue to pay your fucking mortgage, they will decline your application for mortgage assistance. That's the other thing they don't tell you. So when they called and harassed us to pay our fucking mortgage in October and November, even though we were struggling, they didn't tell us it would cause our application for deferment to be declined. So we didn't pay our mortgage this month. Here it is the 15th and we haven't paid it. So what they do, they send me a hate text message. And there's actually 2 of them there. There's 2 messages. So like the first one wasn't good enough. And my phone number is not set as the primary number on the account. It's also not set up to receive text messages at all, period. Why they're texting me, I don't know. I never opted in for text messages. I never told him it was okay to text me. And they denied the application for mortgage assistance. And I was talking to my friend Amber about it because they were struggling because she lost her full-time job and her kid's in the hospital, and her kids have a lot of heart problems and defects and stuff. And her one daughter died a couple years ago because of her heart problems. And it's like, this is the shit they don't tell you. And it's like when you do reach out for help, like I reached out for fucking food stamps. And the fucking caseworker was like, I know that bitch is lying. Oh, that reminds me. That's another thing I wanted to do. This is some fuck shit right here. Let me find the message.
Yes, this is Ms. Frazier at the Department of Family and Children Services. I was calling to speak with Ms. Rebecca. You submitted the letter that you're no longer with Ominent, but I need that signed pay stub. Also, the mortgage statement is in your husband's name. Is he still in the household
Not
or
husband.
not? And also, you stated you were disabled. You submitted medical bills, but I don't see anything stating that you are disabled and not able to work. So if you have the disability paperwork, you need to submit that from a doctor or a medical facility in order to be approved for disability. Otherwise, you will need to participate in the SNAP work program, work comparable program, or get a job working 20 hours per week, totaling 80 hours per month, or you can volunteer at any place of your convenience at 20 hours per week as well. Give me a call back if you need to, 478-227-8709. Thank you.
This is where it gets good.
So you disabled, trying to keep from working. Oh, Jesus. And none of this stuff sitting there about you know disabled. Nothing.
And she just received a text message. She's recording on my fucking voicemail, and she has no idea she's still recording on my voicemail.
And that mortgage in your husband's name, where is he?
Not married.
Let's see what she's trying to say. She disabled. Y'all always trying to be slick. Well, that man that... See, she's saying never married. She is married because that's his name. And that mortgage.
Not fucking married, bitch.
I ain't got time for it today.
That is 3 minutes and 3 seconds. And you see how many minutes are left. An hour and 5 minutes and 33 seconds are left. That is how long this fucking voicemail is. The bitch didn't realize she was recording on my fucking voicemail this entire time until she went to call out. I even have her work meeting recorded on here. About 40 minutes in.
Yeah. Hi.
So, When you even reach out for help with like fucking food stamps and you only get $22 a month, and the bitch that's working your fucking case, whoever this Miss Frazier is from the Department of Children and Families here in Georgia, leaves shit like this on your fucking voicemail. And this isn't the only voicemail that this hoe left on my phone. This is just one of many. This is the shit that you have to fucking deal with. This is what my fucking year has been like. One shit show after another. I have contacted lawyers asking for help with this discrimination. I have applied for disability and been fucking ignored. I have tried to get lawyers to help me with my disability claims. I have copies of all my medical records. Do you know how fucking difficult it is with neurological conditions in this country to get fucking disability, yet some fat bitch can sit in Florida and eat herself to death and give herself fucking diabetes and get fucking disability because she ate too much and gave herself diabetes, and she gets over $1,000 a fucking month because she kept having kids and ended up getting diabetes because she overate and she was killing herself and gave herself a medical condition. I know for a fact what I'm saying is true because I watched somebody fucking do it. Somebody that used to look like me overate and gave herself a medical condition and then applied for fucking disability because of diabetes and health problems and overweight, and she kept popping fucking kids out left, right, and center, and then she overfed her fucking kids and gave them diabetes. Now everybody in the fucking family is on food stamps and disability, and the state of Florida fucking pays them to live now. And I can't even get any fucking help. And here I am living day to day with a fucking migraine condition when there are days when I can't even see out of my right eye most days. And I do every fucking thing I can to be a productive member of society. I try and help people. I try and go above and beyond for everybody no matter what I do. And all I seem to do this year is get shit on. Everywhere I turn for help, I'm getting shit on. And I don't need some religious Jesus Bible thumper in my fucking comments telling me, oh, just go to Jesus and he'll pray for you. I don't need your fucking religious bullshit in my fucking comment section. You can get fucked. Because your God means abso-fucking-lutely nothing to me. Your God has nothing to do with how shitty the U.S. economy is and how shitty this country is and how shitty it treats women in this country and how shitty it is for people like me to get help. Living with chronic illnesses that are chronic, uncurable diseases that we take fucking pills every day, all day long. I do have new insurance that starts January 1st, but my biggest fear is I'm going to say one wrong thing on a phone call with the client that I currently work for, and I'm going to be fucked. And it's going to be it. I have between now and January 1st to take all the rest of the offensive artwork off my walls, which is the stuff behind me, my Doctor Who poster that's over there, my Florida Gator stuff off of the wall, which I might as well sell that because that might actually fetch me some money. I have to take my space prints down because they're offensive, according to the real estate agent. I have gone through all of the clothing that was in boxes and whatnot to sort out what I can wear versus what I can't wear versus what I need to try on to see what I can still wear or not, so that I have the ability to try and sell some of that stuff if it's in good condition, to try and get rid of it for even $5 or $6. Because on Poshmark, the fees are astronomical. They take 20% from every sale for anything over a certain amount of money, plus they take $3 for everything. So for every sale that we do on Poshmark, it's a $3 fee that they take plus 20% over, I think it's like over anything over $3. Let me look. I have it written down on a graphic. But it's like I am doing everything I can right now to earn money. Okay, so any sale over $3 and under $15, it's 20% for the listings. So, for example, if we sell an item for $3, we make 5 cents. If we sell an item for $15, we make $12. If we sell an item for $20, we make $15. If we sell an item for $25, we make $20. Just to give you an idea of a breakdown. I am doing what I can right now to earn money to put aside because we're going to lose this house. And I have no way to pay our bills right now. I am earning what money I can. I make $13.80 potentially an hour. And that is as long as I'm logged in and as long as I'm on a phone call. If I have to turn my phone off to like go to the bathroom or something, I'm not getting paid. When they close for holidays, we don't get paid at all, period. So on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, when all the Bible thumpers and shit are doing Christmas, we're not getting paid. So those are 2 days that I'm losing money because I don't get paid. And we only work Monday through Friday. And guess what? Christmas Eve and Christmas Day fall right in the fucking middle of the week. Which means those are 2 days that I will not get back. We're working Monday, Thursday, and Friday that week. And that's it. And that's it. I think I have 12 hours the entire week. So you figure the math on that, okay? 12 times 1380. And again, that's a potential. That's not guaranteed. That's $165.60 that we're going to earn. We don't get a Christmas bonus. We don't earn incentives. We don't have any extra money that we earn for being logged in the week of Christmas. Nothing. We don't get shit. We earn 23 cents for being available and being on the phone, and that's it. We don't earn anything extra. There's no incentives for working extra. This is the bullshit that I'm stressed out about. This is it. And then when we list our house in January and I have to pack away 99% of my life, I have nowhere to go. I already talked to my dad. He's like, well, we have no room for you here. And you probably don't want to come back to Florida anyways. I can't fucking afford Florida. I talked to my cousin and she's like, well, why don't you try moving somewhere close to here? I'm like, okay. So if I move to Tennessee, would you be up to like doing more fun things? She's like, maybe. She works Monday through Friday from like 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever. She's not going to want to do shit with me. And then she does like choir and stuff on the weekend, but she likes to stay home. She's not going to want to go out and do stuff. So then what? Here I'm in a whole other situation, moving to a whole other state that I don't fucking know. I have no friends there. I don't know anybody there. And this time I'm going to be completely on my own because even Jason said he's not going to go with me. And it's like, okay, so now I'm looking for places that I can afford, which is basically $100,000 property, and trying to find a property that's $100,000 on the market right now that's a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom facility. Good luck with that. So even if we sell the house, okay, we talked about like, what are we going to do with the SUV? It's in both of our names. And he's like, well, depending on, what happens or whatever, I always have somewhere to go. And, I probably need to move out to the West Coast if I'm going to find a job. Or I've always got family I can go live with. I'm like, okay, so does that mean you're not going to live with me anymore? Like, what's going to happen? And it's like, so I would be alone. And it's been a while since I've done that on my own, like 20 years. And then it's like, okay, what do I do? I have too much shit between my bedroom and my office stuff. I need at least a 2-bedroom house or place to live in order to set up my work stuff and be able to work. But I also need internet and power in order to do my job. And I need steady internet and power. So off-grid living for me isn't really an option because I'm still required to work those 80 commits a month for the client that I work for. And then again, back to the whole, if I say one thing wrong on a phone call with a customer, I could be removed from the client and have no recourse because as that email read a minute ago, the client can remove you for any cause. And this is a client that I've been working since January of 2022. So yeah, I could apply and get a mortgage on my own and get an FHA loan or get a USDA loan or whatever. And I am looking at options and whatnot. And I had a real estate agent I was working to and I had talked to. I can't even get the hoe to call me back or text me or email me or nothing. I have questions and I can't even get a hold of her. And I understand that like we're not listing our house for like 2 more weeks, but like I have questions that I need answers to before I go like doing any more research. And I can't even get a text message reply from this lady. So now I'm like, what do I do now? Granted, I haven't signed a contract with her, so it's like, but I do have a contract signed with the other realtor, so maybe I should just ask her all these questions because like, I don't know what else to do at this point. But also, I'm terrified that what if I get in this situation, say we sell our house, okay, we pay off the SUV, we take the earnings, we split it halfway down, the way like we've talked about and we go our separate ways. That leaves me with money to put down on a property or whatever. The places that I have found right now to move into or to move to, 99% of it is raw land, which means nothing on it. No sewer, no electric, no plumbing, no internet, no nothing. It is fucking rocks and trees and leaves and nothing else. No fucking nothing. I'd be starting from scratch. It is raw land, undeveloped. So, okay, I've always wanted to live in a tiny house and whatnot, and there are Amish in the area. Maybe I could get an Amish or a Mennonite build or something like that, but that takes time. What do I do in the meantime? I haven't rented an apartment since 2005. I don't even know what the rental market looks like anymore. I wouldn't even know how to go about looking for a fucking rental. I don't know how any of that shit works anymore. I have started like looking for all that kind of stuff. I am so lost right now. And honestly, where I'm at with all of this, I am so stressed out. I literally just want to walk out in traffic. Because I'm doing it all by myself. I have no help. And even though I have my friend Marcia to talk to, who lives here in Georgia, who also has a really shitty living situation, she can't help me but be an ear. And I'm fucking terrified. I'm terrified, and I don't know what to do. And it doesn't matter how much education you have, if you can't find a fucking job with it. I live every day trying to help people and make at least one person's day better. And my entire year has been shit. And I just want one day to go without a hitch. And not be some epic shit show. And I may put on a really brave face, but honestly, I'm fucking over life right now. I am so fucking over everything. And I have zero support. I have no support system. I don't have anybody anymore that I can talk to about any of this shit. And I don't know how anybody else out there is going through this shit like I am. But it's hard to do this alone. You can be prepared all you want and to, do like I do and keep a calendar and make your lists and write everything down and, keep your fucking planners. It doesn't matter if you don't have somebody sometimes to talk to about this shit. Because I don't. And honestly, if I didn't wake up tomorrow, I'd be okay. It would be his mess to figure out. Because honestly, he doesn't give a shit anymore. I can go all day long, and he might say 5 words to me. He doesn't talk to me. He never tells me anything anymore. I'm surprised he hasn't killed himself mixing chemicals the way he does. Like, literally, the way he mixes, like, bleach and ammonia and stuff, I'm surprised this man has not killed himself making mustard gas. I have never seen anybody so inept when it comes to the chemical compounds of things. It just astounds me with the lack of knowledge of, hey, don't mix those, ammonia and bleach don't go together. Like, don't do that. You'll never breathe right again after that. That white puffy cloud is bad juju. Get away from it. I know a lot of things about a lot of stuff because I'm smart and I pay attention And I've had a lot of different teachers in my life teach me a lot of different things. And if my body didn't hurt so bad all the time, I would get up and do more stuff. But most days, my body just wants to shut down, and I can't function. I've taken 3 migraine pills today, and I can't see out of one of my eyes. And I can't do my migraine injection for another day. It's now officially December 16th. And I have to go to bed soon because I have to work at 11 o'clock in the morning because I'm working as many fucking hours as I can get right now, because even working 40 hours, I'm only going to earn $500. It's like $469 is the potential that I can earn this week, if I did my math right. And that's it. That's where I'm at right now. So I'm doing what I can, when I can, how I can, and I'm struggling. So if you've noticed, uploads and stuff are few and far between, that's why. Like, I'll record content when I'm feeling okay, when my migraine isn't that bad, or when I don't have a migraine. I record like a bunch of stuff when I can actually function. Or if you notice, like, all the lights and stuff are off, and I record when I can. Sometimes the lights really don't bother me when I have a migraine. Right now they're not bothering me. Earlier today they were really bad. I couldn't have any lights on. I couldn't function with the lights on. No sense, no lights, no nothing. But, and it's, don't blame it on this time of year, you know. It's not because it's the holiday season or some bullshit like that. I don't give a fuck about what time of year it is. I don't really pay attention to holidays. It's just another day to me. It's just been such a hard year for me, and I'm ready for this shit show to stop. This has been such a bad ride this year, and everybody's like talking about manifesting and putting it out there for like all this good stuff and doing good intentions, and I've been pagan a really long time. And it makes me wonder what I've done to the gods to piss them off so bad. I put a stink bug outside last night so it wouldn't die in the house. I apologize for even detaining it for a moment, because I took its freedom away. Who the fuck does that? I try to be a good person. I try to live my life as best as possible. I try not to hurt anybody. I try so hard to help people every day, no matter where it is, no matter if I'm at home and it's on social media, no matter if it's on at work. I go above and beyond for my customers. I try to help my coworkers out. I offer hours when I need them to coworkers that didn't get any because they missed commits, the commit drop. I try and help people every fucking day, and it just feels like every day more and more shit just gets piled on me, and I'm so fucking tired of the shit that just gets heaped on me. And it's like you see these nasty, hateful, undeserving people always get all these like good things, and it makes you wonder, like, maybe if I was an asshole, like, all the time, maybe I would get ahead in life, but then my conscience wouldn't let me get away with that. Like, I honestly wouldn't be able to live with myself, honestly. I think my soul would hurt. I honestly don't think that I could intentionally go out of my way to hurt somebody like that. I just don't. Like, I never could understand when I was in my abnormal psychology class and the teacher forced us to think like the criminals that we had a case, and then we had a criminal that we had to follow, and we had to think like our criminal. I never could understand how those people thought like that. I never could get it. Like, what kind of warped sense of reality do you have to live in to do something like that to somebody? I couldn't even cut into my fetal pig in biology class because I felt sorry for it. I didn't want to just dissect my frog or my shark or anything else because I could feel what it felt like to cut into it on me. It was dead. It was embalmed, and, you know, it was like, it was way dead, but like, I could feel it. Like, I was doing it to me. Like, I couldn't do that to somebody else. Like, when I had to lance Bubby's paw after he got in that cat fight, I had to lance it and then express it to release the fluid buildup in his paw. I apologized to my cat because I had to do that. And he just like looked at me like he knew I was doing it to help him. He wasn't mad at me. He didn't try and bite me or claw me or anything. He knew I was helping him. And I still felt bad because I had to cut his paw open to get the swelling to go down because his paw was literally the size of my hand. And I felt bad for doing it. Like, I don't know anybody that can like just intentionally hurt somebody and like not feel bad for doing that. And I can't wrap my head around that. What the fuck kind of sadistic bullshit is that? It's like my mom when she used to beat me as a child. She got pleasure out of it. And then now that I know that she's a narcissist, it makes sense. But like, fucking sadist. Anyways, I'm going through a lot. And I'm not dealing with it really well. And I've got a bunch of videos edited and scheduled till like the end of January. And I'm doing what I can, guys, to get stuff uploaded. But I'm not doing good. And I'm worried for my future. And I don't want to end up homeless. And if I do find somewhere to move to, in Tennessee, which is my goal, is to find somewhere in Tennessee to move to close to my cousin, I'm doing it alone. And even though I'll have a little bit of money from the sale of this house to do it with, depending on what we sell the house for, I also worry about losing my job every fucking day. Because I might say one thing wrong and they're going to fire me. And then what am I going to do about paying bills then? So, that's where I'm at. This is, my 2024 has been an ever-loving shit show. And if you guys want me to go into detail on that DCF worker that called me a liar and said I was married when I'm not, and made other accusations about the fact that I'm not disabled when I sent her literally every fucking medical document that I've got for the past 4 years, and she still called me back and left me another hateful voicemail, I could do a video on that. And like I said, I've reached out to several discrimination attorneys here in Georgia with no responses. I even called the Attorney General's office for the state of Georgia with no fucking reply. Which is who you're supposed to call to report people like her. So I can't even get help to report this stupid bitch for her ignorance and her bias. So, I know this video is long. And I'm not going to apologize for crying because I'm tired. And I hurt. And my nose is making popping noises. That's just great. And I'm tired of having these fucking migraines. And if anybody leaves any Jesus comments in the fucking chat below, I would just fucking block you. I do not have time for any of this Bible thumper, religious, holier than thou assholes in my fucking chat. I just ain't got time for that shit today. Anyways, I will see you guys later. If you made it this far, I don't even know if there's a tissue emoji. I don't know. Leave me a crying emoji in the chat. Leave me a tissue emoji in the chat or something. I'll see you guys later. Bye.